really good, isn't it? You know what's neat about all these pictures is people. You know, you look at pictures of Vancouver, and often the Planning Commission and the city makes pictures of buildings. But what makes this city great is people. And that's what I'm going to talk about. Garbage is what I'm going to talk about, and it's not as happy a story as the stories we've heard, because we're not doing a very good job on garbage. But because I'm a person who likes continuity, I see this as a continuation of a conversation that started on March 2nd at Allah's invitation with Village Vancouver and Zero Waste Vancouver, and a group almost as big as this who decided we're going to do something about social isolation. See what she's doing? She's got to fix her sink, and she goes off to the big box store that will remain nameless when she could go next door and borrow the wrench from the guy who has a whole bunch of them in his garage. That's why we have garbage, because we don't have a way to find the guy next door. We don't know his name. So we go out and we can't even remember what our wrench is, the lady said earlier. So this is an idea that was planted in people's minds in several cities across North America, but not in Canada, about 30 years ago. We're talking about the glorified garage next door, which is, come on, a tool library. How about that? Instead of buying a wrench, you borrow a wrench from the library. Now in Berkeley and in Oakland and a few other towns, it's actually part of the library system. The public library does it. Hey, city, is this a good way to help make zero waste? In other communities like Seattle and Portland, it's actually a citizen initiative. Is that a great way to make zero waste? Get people working together to swap tools. Now, this is the best part of my story of all. These four people are right here in Vancouver. This is, I can't remember their names, but I met one of them on March 2nd, and is he ever great? These guys have been working for a year to set up a tool library right here in Vancouver. They've even got, wait for it, a logo. And they've got a website, and it's under construction, and they've got places where you can sign up and volunteer and support them and give them money, because they're going to need it. It is expensive to do this stuff, because what they have to do is not only get the stuff that costs money, but they have to do the really hard part, which is to get heaps of people involved. They got to get lots of tools. They got to get people to fix the tools. But luckily, we have a new process in the city, which is the Greenest City program, right? It's promising it all. We are finally going to figure out how to deal with the waste problem. How are we going to do it? What is it we want the mayor and council and the city to do to help us get this tool library? Well, let's look at the cities that have tool libraries closest to us. Seattle. What does Seattle have? Seattle has a Department of Neighborhoods. Now that's interesting. There is actually an office at City Hall whose whole job it is to go out and find neighborhoods and work with them to get good stuff happening, like a tool library in West Seattle, which has a population of 20,000 people with about 16 sub-neighborhoods. And they've got their own tool library. Why not a tool library in every neighborhood? How about Portland? This is a terrible picture, but it's there they call it ONI, the Office of Neighborhood Involvement. They hand out heaps of money to groups. I mean, serious money like the arts groups get here, they get for these community programs to develop tool libraries, to engage their neighbors. And at the end of the day, wait for it, this is what we're really talking about. We're talking about ending the social isolation that makes us troop off to the orange big box to get the wrench, when all those folks can do the job of fixing a wrench and making sure it's there for you when you need it. And I think the only way we're going to do it is to change the way the city does business so it starts working with neighborhoods. And this is how you do it. It's called asset-based community development. It's not about big buildings and tourist destinations and all this kind of eco-density, let's pack more people in. It's about the people in the buildings, not the buildings. And this is a group out of Northwestern University, John McKnight. It's a whole nother way of looking at community development, and I would like to see the Planning Commission start thinking about this city as people instead of buildings. Let's plan for people so we can be sustainable. That's what's got to be sustained, not buildings, but people. Thank you.